कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरये परमात्मने प्रणतक्लेशनाशाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. We have been seeing the seventh chapter of Bhagavad Geetā, and a couple of classes ago our topic was the four kinds of devotees. Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritin artho jijnasurartharti nani cha bharatarshava. And then Sri Krishna on one hand complimented all the four kinds of devotees. Udaraha sarva evaite, he said. All these are noble souls. All these are praiseworthy. I care for all these four kinds of devotees. However, the fact remains that the fourth kind, Gnani, he or she is a cut above all. Because that Gnani not only loves God, but knows that he has no separate existence than God. Advaita is in that way better expressed. Rather than saying, I am Brahman, I am God, which has to be understood properly. When understood properly, there is no problem. For a lot of people who misunderstand Advaita, I repeat, for people who misunderstand Advaita, it is better to put this same truth in a humble language. I have no existence at all other than in God as one with God. The Artha, the Jijnasu and the Artharthi don't have that high wisdom. Going further, Sri Krishna said, and I said in the last class also, Sri Krishna threw precious light upon the psychology of humanity. You and I do not realize how we are driven by our value system, how we are driven by our priorities. And most of us, alas, don't have either right priorities or even sometimes we have an idea of right priorities, we don't stick to them. A certain quote came to me from somewhere yesterday. It says, until you really begin to care for yourself, you will not know how, for a long time, how you lost so much because you did not care for yourself. The context, the words may be slightly different, but it said caring for yourself also is important. Even sadhus do that. Sadhus, in the name of social service, miss out their own yoga or pranayama or japa, meditation. Wait a minute. Unless you are a Jivan Mukta, unless you are already extremely high on the scale, you have to take care of yourself. Your priority should be to be regular in your prayers, in your meditations, in your lifestyle. Otherwise, you are trying to help the society and very soon you will become a burden to the society. Joint pain, diabetes, blood pressure, not to mention the bigger ailments, not to mention even mental disturbances. So, priorities. Now coming back to the spiritual field, if one is more conscientious, one listens to one's conscience, one listens to one's inner voice, then it will not be much late before one says goodbye to the pursuit of pleasures, to the pursuit of wealth, and to be hung up with all kinds of afflictions. Artha has some afflictions, maybe some health problems, maybe loss of some near and dear one. Sad enough, but even the Artha, somebody who has certain miserable conditions in her or his life, cannot just go on telling that tale of tears to everybody whom he meets. People get fed up if you go on crying on their shoulders. The Artha also should graduate and come to a higher level and say to God, God, it's your wish. You want to cure me of this ailment? Go ahead. You want to keep me in this ailment, sick? You want to keep me sick? Thy will be done. But give me love of your feet. Give me love for your feet in this way. Nishkama Bhakti. And Gnani alone has Nishkama Bhakti. And throwing light on human mind, how various ways of attaching value keep changing as you and I grow. What we attach value changes. And in the last verse we saw, that was the crux of the matter. It said in the 20th verse, large numbers of people unable to bear the force of various lower desires in them worship. The word used is devata, and we have said enough on the larger meaning of devata. They worship other positions and powers and miss out on the Supreme God. And other positions of or powers could be devatas in the heaven, or could be politicians or rich people in the world. Of course, they will also bless the devotee, the follower, the seeker. Everywhere it is done, in industry, in politics, in religious organizations, everywhere. If you are very loyal and very devoted to somebody, generally, unless there is some unexpected error, those who have accepted your services will also bless you. In politics, if I may give a quick example, how does it work in politics? Somebody wants to become a minister in the cabinet in New Delhi, but the prime minister and his parties see that, oh, there is no berth left. Then they make such a person, especially the older ones, a governor in some state or some other respectable and desired positions are given. Sometimes they create a post. I once met a lady who was actually aspiring to become member of parliament. Bright, brilliant, fairly young and talented and so on. She came and then she said, I wanted to become the member of parliament, but my party did not give me the ticket at all. That is, they did not field her as the candidate. But she had done quite a lot for the party. Later on, as she was fretting and fuming, because along with her talent and good personality and skills and knowledge and exposure to many subjects, exposure to international affairs and so on and so forth, she was also personally very ambitious. So when she was denied the ticket to contest for the member of parliament's position, she was like a wounded tiger or tigress. But the government then very intelligently created a post in one of the foreign countries and posted her there to look into matters related to not Indian politics, etc., to look into matters related to Indian culture, promote Indian culture in that country. And they created a position for her. Already there was an ambassador and many other people from Indian Foreign Service in that country. So the IFS people did not welcome her. Who is this coming here? But then they understood. This lady has the backing of Prime Minister himself. Even then, I believe there was some kind of friction because the ambassador and all his office are into everything. Why post one more person for Indian culture? But it was created for this lady's sake. I don't know more details, but in my mind, with some mischief, I think that Prime Minister Modi might have done that for one more reason. Because this young lady was very ambitious and very outgoing and aggressive and so on. I think he achieved two things at the same time. Number one, he gave her a good position in a foreign country. Number two, he kept her quite away from India so that she doesn't disturb the, you know, things back home. Anyway, thank God I didn't mention her name or other details because we Swamis should not spill the beans too much on a whole lot of people. Not only we Swamis, anybody among you also. When you get to know about some person, you need to be extremely careful, not to talk about that person everywhere, for it's a responsibility. So why this came up is Anya Devata, 20th verse, one last sentence. Anya Devata, lower forms of God, lower forms of divinity, lower forms of power, position, lower forms of capacity, lower forms of ability to bless and reward. There are many others. They are called, idiomatically, they are all called Devata. And they bless you. But now we enter the next shloka, where once more Sri Krishna puts the two things in contrast. There are so many other Devatas who no doubt bless you, but the Supreme God is one who understands you holistically, your entire needs. At a given moment of time, you and I are carried away by a particular need. At some time in our life, all we want is money. At some other time in our life, all we want is some relationship. Some other time, all we want is to maybe go abroad, settle abroad. Some desire. But isn't it true that really speaking, life is much more than money or a good relationship or settling in some prosperous, clean, neat place. Life is a composite whole where there are simply countless factors. It is only the Supreme God who does justice to all those departments. So in 21, Bhagavan says, Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhaya architumicchati tasya tasya achalam shraddham tam eva vidadhami aham. Lord Krishna has his own operating system, his own supreme software. His software is way beyond any intelligent software. As you and I know, today all the machines work as a very sophisticated combination of hardware and software. Take the example of a Tesla auto-driven driverless car. I am told that you can go to a mall, to a parking area, and you don't have to search for where there is a slot available. You just get down at a certain place and then click one or two buttons. The driverless car goes and searches and finds a proper slot for parking. It parks itself. Later on, when you come back to the same spot, and again press one button on your handheld remote control, wherever it is, it will come. It will come and pick you there. So, if human beings can come out with such software and in number of other scenarios, you have human intelligence joining hands with artificial intelligence, AI, right? Imagine God's intelligence is unbelievably higher. Yet we ask, why does God do this? Why does God do that? For example, in this shloka it is said, God just honors and blesses people as per their wishes. Though there is a higher form of divinity that a man can worship, a certain man of his own choice worships a lower form of God because he has a narrow-minded outlook. A man wants a beautiful car, and in a manner of saying, there is a devata who can give you a very good car. So he just goes and holds the feet of that devata. Then he gets the car. But there are so many other things in life where he may lose. So the shloka says, yo, whoever person, yam, that is adjective to tanum, God form, implying lower God forms. Yo bhaktaha, yam devata tanum, architum ichchati. He doesn't listen to anybody. I want to worship this particular devata only. All right, God bless you. Go ahead. Shraddhaya architum ichchati. God, rather than discouraging him or stopping him, the supreme intelligence that is with God, actually vidadhami. I give to that person that Shraddha itself. That means I strengthen that Shraddha. Okay, you want to go in that direction? Go ahead. If you are run out of petrol, I fill petrol in your petrol tank. If you have some other health problem, if you have your vehicle, yourself, anyone has some issue, I'll clear that and I will facilitate your chosen journey. Tasya achalam shraddham tameva vidadamya. I will not come in the way and insist upon you are taking a higher journey which I have in mind for you. How interesting. Now here somebody may say, no, if God is truly compassionate, he should stop us and make us go on the higher plane. God has his own plans. Who are we to question God? But we cannot blame God. It is we who wanted to pursue a particular goal. He says, Tathastu. That is how in the Puranas, especially Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, these two are known for saying Tathastu to so many Rakshasas, knowing well that that will lead to a lot of disaster, a lot of ruin, a lot of torment, a lot of torture. The Rakshasas, the demons, get those boons and then they start a trail of horror. Then Bhagavan Vishnu in many stories comes in an avatar as Rama or Krishna, as Narasimha or Vamana. In so many ways, Bhagavan Vishnu comes and does all the firefighting. Life goes on. If any of you is troubled by what is happening in the world at this time, please know much worse things had happened in olden days too. There were Ravanas, there were Kansas, there were all kinds of demons at all time. Today also there are forces at work, forces that are pulling down the dharma, the real dharma. You better improve and get more steady in your sadhana. Don't raise your hand and point finger to this person, that person. Look at the evil he is doing or she is doing. What are you doing? Are you getting more regular in your sadhana, in your dharma palana? Are you practicing dharma? Therefore, Bhagavan has his own operating system, his own OS. It's not just iOS. Apple computers has iOS, intelligent operating system. Apple Watch and Apple phone, Apple laptop, all those have I. But this is infinite iOS, the operating system that runs with infinite intelligence. Adi Shankaracharya now says, Tesham cha kaminam artha jijnasu and artharthi are kamis. Jnani is nishkami or a kami. Tesham cha kaminam yo yaha kami. Kami means somebody who is troubled by desires. When somebody is no more troubled by desires, he is no more a kami, he then becomes a swami. The name swami means master, not master upon others. That follows. He is master or she is a master over her senses, over her mind. Kami yam yam tanum architum ichchati. Shankaracharya says, Devata tanum. Therefore, there are indeed so many devatas. Tanu can here mean murti. Basically, Tanu means form. And in Sanatana Dharma, we have Murti Puja. So we conceive a certain Devata, visualize or know about that Devata through some Shastra. Then for our convenience of concentrating, we actually may create an image, an idol, a statue. So now, 5 days from now, in Ayodhya, a statue of Sri Ram will be consecrated. Prana Pratishtha will be done. And that statue is a Tanu. Sri Ram, of course, is Supreme God. Here we are talking of lower forms of God. Devata Tanum Shraddhaya Sanyuktaha Bhaktasya San Architum Pujaitum Ichchati Tatyatasya Kaminaha. To that particular Kami, on one hand, he is led by a lower desire. On the other, in accordance with that lower desire, he worships also a lower form of God. Because as the desire, so is the pursuit. Somebody went to a mall to buy certain things, but his eyes fell upon a corner where hot samosas were being sold. And he has a tremendous weakness for samosas. He forgot everything and went there and went on eating samosas and then blamed the shop. He blamed the shop in a very strange way. He said, if the samosas were not so good, I would have gone away quickly. But they are so good. I blame the shop for making such good samosas. So he ate so much samosas and felt a bit heavy, forgot what he had to buy. He returned home. Then he realized, oh, I did not bring what I was supposed to bring. Like that, the kami goes after some desire, and that desire makes him worship particular lower form of God. And Sri Krishna says, well, the science operates like that. That person for a very long time will be stuck in that only. Achalam, sthiram, shraddham, that person's faith, that person's priorities, all of them, vidadhami. Vidadhami, I give them, I encourage, I promote. Maya eva purvam pravrittaha swabhavataha. So, yaya eva, yaya eva. Because Shraddha is feminine, I give him that Shraddha, yaya eva, by which earlier this man, this woman was engaged. So everybody chooses particular field of engagement, and 9 out of 10, alas, are unable to get out of it. There are some in whose case whole life goes into some karma, some personal pursuit. Sometimes very eminent people, people holding high positions in various disciplines, have known to the public or unknown to the public some weakness. All their life they are pursuing that. They had it, and because they don't listen to any advice, finally God says, okay, if so strongly you want to continue in that line, I provide you whatever you want. Yaya shraddhaya purvam pravrittaha tameva shraddham vidadhami. How interesting. How interesting this psychology. So, one question may be answered. Suppose Devata means the divine forces in the heaven. And we talked about Tanu. Tanu, I said, also can mean Murti. Can we prepare an image or a statue, an idol for these divine forces who, they are forces. They don't have a form, right? A Tippanakara writes here, Devatas do have a form. Different Devatas do have a form. And in a traditional language, the Tippanakara, the person who writes notes, says if a Devata does not have a particular form, then how will the Devata be able to take the Havis? Havis is Havihi, the offerings in a yajna, in a yaga. To consume something, you need a form. If you don't have a hand, how will you write? If you don't have organs, how will you function? In order to, you want to play football, but you don't have legs, let us say. You can't play football. You want to play badminton, you don't have hands. Are you playing in some other way doesn't become standard badminton. So giving that logic, the Tippanakara says, Devatas have Sharira. That is how they are able to take the offerings in Yajna Yaga. And also they have powers such as Anima. Anima means becoming very tiny, whereas Mahima becoming very big. Laghima becoming very light. Garima becoming very heavy. Like that, Devatas do have many characteristics. And if you propitiate, if you make particular Devata happy, that Devata will give you various rewards. Interestingly, such things are discussed even in Brahma Sutras. Brahma Sutras, by going by the name, is all about Brahma only. But Brahma includes everything on a lower level. So the Tippankara even gives, if you see the commentary on Brahma Sutra 1.3.26, And starting from there up to 1, 3, 33, that means about eight sutras, and there you have to see the Shankara Bhāshya, that whole matter of devatas and what they do, what powers they have, how we have to make them happy, how we get their blessings, etc., is all dealt with. I have not studied those portions in the Sutra Bhashya, but Sutra Bhashya of 1, 3, 26. They have chapters, sections. They have some other names there for them, Adhikarana and all that. So, Brahma Sutras also talk about the characteristics of devatas and what Vedas, the Sanatana Dharma, has talked about, has been testified, has been verified, has been, on and on through the ages, through very many centuries. These have been further verified. Perhaps I said in the last class, or maybe it was in some other class on some other subject. Right now, there is a lady from a farmer's family in Andhra Pradesh. But at a young age, she was having visions of visiting Swarga, meeting Devatas, and meeting even Indra, Varuna, and so on. As a young girl, as she narrated again and again those visions, people in that village in Andhra Pradesh were shocked because whatever she said matched very well with the descriptions in the Shastras. Then one uncle of her, some Mr. Reddy, uncle or some elderly person, he actually took her to places. She became very well known, and then very young age, in her teens, I guess, or maybe in her 20s, she settled in Germany. Even today, she is known Mother Meera. Mother Meera had personal experiences of all these devatas, lokas, and many other things. So today we are in a modern age, but some of the teachings of the Vedas, however much we may talk in terms of modern sociology, modern economics, there are so many university subjects. Devatas are not talked about in those university subjects. In the Constitution of India, there will be no mention of Agni or Indra, Varuna or Tarksha, Garuda or, all those devatas. So, today's world is run by certain knowledge systems which are not much linked. They are not connected to the Vedas. The Vedas have their own knowledge system, and to take the teachings of the Vedas as they may not be true, needs to be thought over again. Many things in the Vedas have been confirmed by mystics through the ages and even today. So is the case, to say one last comment, so is the case with Rama and Krishna and so on. Was Rama really born, or was it a fiction? Did Rama really walk on this earth? Did Rama actually go to Lanka? And so on. I would say in one sentence, the story of Rama is more real than the story of you and me. Our life, where we went, what we did, etc., could be on a scale of reality versus imagination, could be closer to imagination, and Ram's life could be closer to truth. But what is truth and what is imagination is another profound philosophical question. What do you call the truth? Because you see something, does it become truth? And because you wake up from a dream and say, oh, that was a dream, does the world of dream become less true because you, after waking up, take a position that this waking world alone is real? You take a position. Whereas when you are in the dream, Dream world also is real. So Vedanta is such a system which asks certain uncomfortable questions. And most of you know, in the Vedanta, dream is as real or as false as is waking. We don't put dream even 1 inch below on the scale of reality. Mandukya Karikas have said it in a strong language. And teachers like Swami Sachidanandendra Saraswati deal with that topic with tremendous rigor. In fact, something that is difficult for many people to understand is how when Swami Sachidanandendra Saraswati even dismisses the idea that the dream is the result of waking impressions. That is the theory that goes around everywhere. Dream is secondary, waking is primary. In the waking, if you eat samosas, quite likely in the dream again you go to the same samosa shop and take a bite. So the waking experience of eating samosa was the cause or the basis for the root, and the eating samosa in the dream was just an extension of thought. This is how people think, and lot of Vedanta teachers also say that. But in the rather you know, different school of Vedanta by Swami Sachidanandendra Saraswati, very difficult to understand. Therefore, many mighty masters also have politely said, we don't agree with Swami Sachidanandra Saraswati. They have said it. Anyway, I don't want to go into that controversy, but he maintains the position that the dream names and forms have nothing to do with the names and forms of waking state. That's a very advanced topic. When we take Mandukya Karikas or something in these classes at some point of time, we will go into it or when it comes. So, coming back, you have this karma. As our desires are, so are our priorities, so is the way our life proceeds, so is the way even God encourages us. God says, all right, go ahead, I am releasing funds for you. Like a rich father wants his son to go to UK and study something. But the son says with folded hands, Papa, I don't want to go to UK. I want to go to Southeast countries and enjoy for 6 months and come back. Give me money. The father finally says, okay, do what you like. Like that, God hears it. So in 22, Bhagavan says, Sataya Shraddhaya Yuktaha Tasyaha Radhanam Ihate Labate cha Tataha Kaman Maya Eva Vihitan Hitan. All of us know the word Aradhana. That's very common in our other Indian languages. Sanskrit, of course, is Indian language. But in Hindi or Kannada, Tamil or Telugu, Gujarati or Marathi, Aradhana. So Hindi movie also came, Aradhana, long back. Aradhana is very well known. But in Sanskrit, if you remove A and take only Radhana, that also is a valid word. That also means Aradhana. And some places they split this second quarter, Tasya plus Aradhana, Tasya Aradhana. But a better way is not Tasya. Tasya is masculine. Tasyaha and Radhanam. The Visarga drops because of Sandhi rules. So why Tasyaha? Feminine? Because Tanu Shabda is feminine. The previous shloka talked about yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhaya architum ichchati. Since Tanu is feminine, you want to bring in now a pronoun. Suppose you say, Kamala came to my house then you can't say he took a cup of coffee. Kamala, you can't say he. You have to say she gladly accepted a cup of coffee from my hands. So the noun and the pronoun have to match. So Sataya Shraddhaya Yuktaha. With that enhanced, fortified faith that Lord Krishna himself granted to the devotee, Saha Bhaktaha, Bhakta is masculine in this grammar, grammatically. Tasyaha Tanvaha, Tanu, the form. Continues to worship that form. Ihate does extended upasana. Right? So you can take it in the traditional sense of some Devata Rupam, Devata form. As you know, in the Vedic tradition, every mantra has its own Devata. For example, Gayatri mantra, Asya Gayatri mantrasya Vishwamitra Rashihi, Gayatri Devata, Gayatri Chandaha, and then Savitra Gayatri, Savita Devata. Savita is the Devata. So for all the mantras, Om Namah Shivaya, and so on, all the Vedic mantras have three things connected with them. Who is the Rashi to whom the mantra was revealed? What is the Chandas in which this mantra is revealed? Nobody composed it. It has come from God. So Rishi, Chandas, and Devata. So Devata can be taken, Gayatri Devata. Very popular is that form of Gayatri Devi, lady, Gayatri Mata, and all that. Very right. I also accept it. But in Bangalore, in the 80s, I attended some classes also of that gentleman. There was a great scholar, S.K. Ramachandra Rao. I happened to be in Bangalore those days. Once a week, I would drive my two-wheeler scooter and attend his classes in Jayanagar. I attended maybe not many. I was never very disciplined. I would attend two or three, miss four or five. But I think I attended probably 10 or 12 of his classes in his own house. He was a great learned man. He had mastery on many subjects, including modern subjects. I think he was a professor of psychology or something before. Then he left it. Did he go fully into spirituality? Not really. He was into art, he was into music, he was into Shringara, he was into Shilpa. He wrote many books on even Shilpa Shastra. But he was a Vedic scholar. And in his house, there used to be a small group. I joined them, all elderly people. I was perhaps the youngest person. At that time, I was just about 29 or 30. So I used to sit and people used to say, who is this young fellow? He has come to a wrong place. Or maybe they admired. That's a different matter. But coming to Gayatri, see, sometimes these intellectuals, uh, they they go very far. They sometimes, you know, get on the nerves of others. He at least gave this meaning which shocked all of us. He said Gayatri is not a feminine form at all. And somebody among us asked, I did not, say anything, but somebody said, but sir, uh, Gayatri, Gayatri is a feminine word. Like so many, Devi, right? Saraswati, Parvati, long E. Gayatri has a long E, therefore it should be feminine, someone said. And when Professor Rao replied that, immediately I understood the grammatical side of it. Professor Rao smiled and he, there are masculine nouns also in Sanskrit with long E. That was enough for me to immediately think of Shashi Shabda, Shashin, Shashi, Shashinau, Shashinaha. Right? Mantri is in Sanskrit, Mantri has a long E. Mantri, Mantrinau, Mantrinaha. Or even an elephant, Kari, Kari, Karinau, Karina. So He said Gayatri, just because it has a long E, doesn't become feminine. And he referred to some Veda mantras. I said that going by those Veda mantras, it seems, of course, he also, if I remember right, did not unduly insist on that. He said that an opinion he gave. Quite possibly, Gayatri was a masculine Devata Rupam, a form. The truth finally is beyond feminine and masculine, but form. The form is masculine, but people, somebody popularized Gayatri Mata and all that. So the popular version sometimes is not the true version. Popular version and the actual original version could be at variance at times. So like that, in the few classes that I attended at Professor S.K. Ramachandra Rao's house in Jayanagar, Bangalore, I learned a lot of such things. You know, understood that Sanatana Dharma is much more than what you and I know. We know a little, but it's so vast. Anyway, tasyaha devatayaha, devata shabda grammatically is feminine, devata. So so you say even Vishnu devata, Vishnu devata. The word devata is feminine, but the devata in some cases could be Hanuman also is a devata, Shiva is a devata. So the devata, the word being feminine, can point to a god who could be masculine. Tasyaha devata tanvaha devata tanu form aradhanam ihate. Radhana means aradhana. And then that's how the system works. Depending on what form he or she worships, he or she gets those particular rewards. Aman lavate. So a friend of mine went to an astrologer in Chennai. The astrologer was very good. He understood. He saw all the position. Oh, you have asthma, he said. The person who went was surprised. He had not said all these things. And you are married for the second time. The astrologers, there's something said, as some of you may know. A lot of astrologers tell your past so correctly. So you're very impressed. And what they say about futures many times doesn't come through. That's where you are disappointed. It's always a mixed bag. Anyway, in this case, to complete the example, the astrologer's outlook is very not Devata, Hanuman, or this I told Indra, Varuna, etc. At the end of it, the astrologer told my friend in Chennai, see, what you need to do is in your life, you need to worship that graha. In astrology, there are those 9 grahas, right? Ravi, Shashi, Buddha, Kuja, Shashi, Surya, Chandra, Rahu, Ketu. That in one of the poems, it is put all together. Ravi, Shashi, Buddha, Kuja, Guru, Shukra, Shanaishchara, Rahu, Ketu. Like that. In it is Rama Bhajan. So the astrologer said, you give a mantra, you recite this mantra which will propitiate Shukra Graha. Then you will become more prosperous. At this time in your life, all you need is greater prosperity of several kinds. One mantra I'll give you, the Shukra, that will increase your prosperity. Then you have a problem caused by Shani. So I'll give you a mantra, and for heaven's sake, don't think that by chanting this mantra, the Shani will become stronger and stronger. Then he will trouble you more and more. So my friend was laughing. The astrologer clarified, you chant this mantra, whether you do a sankalpa or not, the effect of this mantra would be, pleased with this mantra, the Shani will become quieter and quieter. Calm down. You want Shukra to rise and bless you with fortune. You want Shani to calm down and not trouble you. Keep a distance. You know. So in Shastras, it is like that. So in astrology, Jyotisha, the planets have to be propitiated. And particular planets, Ravi, Shashi, Buddha, Kuja, Guru, Shukra, Shani, Rahu, Ketu. Particular. I've heard that Rahu also is a troublemaker. And there is mantra for Rahu. Go to some astrologer and they will tell you. If you recite the Rahu mantra, then Rahu also, like Shani, becomes calmer and calmer. Then you don't have thought cancellation. See, many of us are unable to achieve anything because we don't stick to a single thought. We have so many thoughts. One thought goes up to some distance, another thought comes and cancels it. I wanted to buy a car, and then halfway my mind changed. Then I tried to build one extra room in my house. Halfway mind again changed. While all my friends did many things in a year, I just ended up doing nothing because everywhere, there is Rahu. The Rahu is too strong in your kundali, in your horoscope, wherever, whichever house he is now. So the astrologer would tell you, recite this Rahu mantra and Rahu will become a bit withdrawn. Then you wanted to buy a car, you will just go ahead and buy it. Achieved, at least, whether the car is useful to you or not. You will have the satisfaction. I did what I wanted to do, right? So, coming back to Devatas, Maya eva Vihitantar. Whoever is the Devata who is giving you, finally that Devata gets the power from the Supreme God. So Shankara says, Sataya mad vihitaya shraddhaya yuktaha. The shraddha is also given by me. Mad vihita, maya vihita. Tasyaha devata tanvaha. Tanvaha is Shashti of Tanu. Radhanam. Shankara immediately says Aradhanam ihate cheshtate. लभचेत ततः तस्याः आराधितायाः देवता तन्वाः कामान from this panchami here from that tatah is panchami, so tasyaha here is panchami. In the first line tasyaha is shashti, satetaha, so tasyaha, so tasyaha araditayaha devata tanvaः, from that devata tanu कामान ईप्सितान मयैव परमेश्वरेण सर्वज्ञेन कर्मफल विभागज्ञतया विहितान निर्मितान. I created. You bought a car, you went and had ice cream. The ice cream, the car, this, that, all were created by me. Bhagavata vihitaha kamaha tasman tan tasmat tan avashyam labate ityartha. Hitan iti padachede. So the last quarter has two possibilities. Vihitan, hi, tan, or vihitan, hitan. That's fine too. Hitan hi padachede, hitatvam kamanam upacharitam kalpyam. This is a powerful line here. So if you take hitan, that means all the kamas are hita. Hita means beneficial to you. Shankara says upacharitam. Sometimes in a certain context, you know, the father says to the son, I wanted you to go study in UK, but you just want on a holiday trip to Singapore. Yeah, okay, it's good for you. Enjoy. Beta, my son, Magane, enjoy. May your trip be wonderful, etc. So, this is good for you, he may say. Not really good. The son at that age of 22 should have gone to Oxford or Cambridge somewhere. But Upacharita means said in a certain contextual way, kalpyam. So a powerful line is, let's close with that, how to. Shankaracharya says, nahi kamaha hitaha kasyachit. Kama is never good for anybody. At a given time, you are very happy. The young girl is so happy she got a wonderful husband. All that wonderful thing, etc. Very soon, loses much of its meaning, if not fully. In a context, from a narrow window of time, girl getting a good husband, the boy getting a good wife, both of them settling well in a nice town with their nice house of their own. Wow, what else do you? But Shankaracharya, talking like a sannyasi on a high level, Vairagyavan says, Kasyachit, to nobody under the sun, Kama Hita. Fulfillment of desires is not the true good. Being free from desires is the true good. Wow, that's how we must study Shankara Bhāshya. Some of these gems of his statements can work on us so strongly. If not immediately, they will yield results in due course of time. Because many times something beautiful we read, they don't work immediately. In spite of reading some powerful sentence on Vairagya, for example, you say, wow, what a beautiful statement on Vairagya. Vairagya is most important. You come and that's when somebody offers a jalebi. Then you say, beautiful sentence, but this jalebi I'll take. From tomorrow onwards, I won't eat jalebi. whether, whether you avoid jalebi next day also, God knows or the jalebi knows, but you don't know. So, nahi kamaha, underline it if you want to. Nahi kamaha hitaha kasyachit. Sarveshamapi kamaha ahitaha eva. If you are troubled by desires, they will suck you. They will drain you. They will strain you. They will weaken you. That's why Nachiketa said, all these are perishable. Sarvendriyanam jarayanti tejaha. He said and rejected all that Yama had offered. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.